And I thought it appropriate to begin with this because Henry Kissinger, who left office in early 1977, has been in the news pretty much ever since he left office. And he's always been controversial. One of the latest controversies had to do with the 9/11 Commission. And 9/11, of course, we had the anniversary just 3 days ago. In this particular cartoon, and many of you, of course, know that when the 9/11 Commission was set up, the initial chairman of the commission was to be Henry Kissinger. It turned out that he did not choose to remain as the chairman of the commission. And I think this cartoon here illustrates some of the reasons why he chose not to do that. And as you can see there, George W. Bush pointing out that after nominating Kissinger, Dr. Kissinger is already uncovering some skeletons in the 9/11 closet. And an advisor whispering to him that, in fact, that's Dr. Kissinger's closet. And there, of course, are many, many skeletons in Dr. Kissinger's closet. And some of the more obvious ones are indicated there. Clandestine involvement with Pinochet, the Chilean dictator, also been quite a bit on the news recently. Wiretapping, Kissinger's famous for wiretapping his own staff. Secret consultancy contracts, that refers to something that comes after he leaves office, and secret bombing of Cambodia. One of the issues that has created a great deal of controversy about Henry Kissinger for the last 3 decades and more. He also obviously became a great celebrity. He became, I guess, what you could call a diplomatic rock star. He was always in the headlines. He seemed to hold the world in the palm of his hand, juggling many, many issues at the same time. And here we see Henry the Juggler in one of the cartoons from 1974, when his fame is really at the height. This is in the midst of the aftermath of the October 1973 war in the Middle East, when Kissinger managed to launch, one could say, the long-lasting peace process, still going on, of course, in the Middle East by negotiating disengagement agreements and so on. He is a unique man in many ways, the first non-American born Secretary of State, the first Jewish-American Secretary of State, and indeed probably the most celebrated of American foreign policymakers of the Cold War era. This particular dichotomy, or this juxtaposition of these two views, of, on the one hand, Dr. Kissinger, the sort of prince of realpolitik, who came and, in effect, gave American foreign policy a new purpose in the late 60s and early 70s, as the United States was suffering from the trauma of Vietnam. He went and opened China, negotiated détente with the Soviet Union, negotiated an end to American involvement in Vietnam. Not perhaps the best kind of end, but arguably he negotiated an agreement that allowed the United States to bring troops back and so on. And he negotiated the first set of Middle East agreements after the October 1973 war. He was Super K. Many Newsweek called him Super K in 1974, after he had negotiated a second disengagement agreement, that between the Israelis and the Syrians. On the other hand, he was always controversial. He was known to have wiretapped his own staff. He was suspected of having strong links to authoritarian regimes and so on and so forth.